Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, and I'm here today doing my business, doing my job, which is to be available to share with you any information that I get relative to freedom, relative to sharing God's life for us compared to that which we have chosen as our own, and to explain how we can get back if we want to get back. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying, I am reminded back in the early days, you know, my youth, our youth, many of us used to go to church all the time. And I used to listen to what the preacher said out of the scriptures about this holiness and about heaven and God and love. And I think most children listen just that intensely. And I was getting out of the message that I was hearing something different than the people who were adults, who supposed to be representing authority, who are representing something to the children that is real enough for us to follow. And I'm listening to what is being said, what is being read, and I'm watching people in their daily lives, and I'm seeing so much difference. And then certain times on Sunday, I can see people shouting hallelujah and passing out and fainting and stuff like this. And I always knew that something was wrong. Something did not jive with the way things should be as I saw it. In fact, what I really saw was a people being able to do the same thing that Jesus was doing, to have that same kind of love for one another, that you go out there and you make sure that anytime somebody is suffering, anytime somebody is going through some pain, that it becomes a responsibility and the duty of everybody that knows about it to find out why this stuff is happening and do everything they possibly can to fix it. And if that's for one person, and that's for all of the people, that means if a group of people are suffering, if one person is suffering, if a state is suffering, if the nation, if the whole really world is suffering, it is the duty and responsibility of those who know better and know how to take care of that. That's what I saw in the thing with Jesus' life, and that wasn't happening. But I could kid myself to think that one day that we as a children then would grow up, because there was something that happened in my youth, and I'm sure our youth as well, was Dr. Martin Luther King. He talked about the Bible. He talked about Jesus. He talked about the scripture. He talked about God. He talked about love. He talked about justice. He talked about peace. He talked about all of those things we were all taught about. But he just didn't talk about it. He walked the walk in the name of God and in the name of justice. He even used the Constitution, searching for justice within it. He stood for what was pure and what was genuine, what I saw as being similar to what the whole message of the Bible was about, and Malcolm X as well. That's what they did. That's what they represented to me. And all of a sudden, their brains were blown out because they cared about the people. Evil does not appreciate love. Evil appreciates what? Loyalty. To whom? To the whoever is whooping your head. That's absolutely the truth. And that is where we are today in this country. That is where we are today all over this globe. This political thing that's happening now during this season, it's all about that. It has nothing to do with justice and fairness and what's right. It's about God and Satan. It's about right and wrong. It's about good and evil. It's about truth that will free us all. I just wanted to say that, ladies and gentlemen. I had taken a few notes. I spoke off my cuff right then, but I had a few notes, and it said something like this. It said, around the country, politics are going the way of fighting crime and violence, which is the result of poverty, with cops and more police activities. This means that the system, whether it's under the control of the Democrats or Republicans, they are unable to imagine a solution to this social and economic problem. That is what, when you hear people talking about more cops on the street, when you talk about fund the cops, put more cops on the street, put cops in the jails, put cops in the schools, put cops all over the place. That means that the system has failed the consciousness, the moral consciousness of the people to the point that they just gone wild because they're doing everything responding to the system in which they have been molded to be like. Wow. See, you ask yourself maybe then where did this stuff come from? Well, based upon what I have observed is that there's greed. And when greed flourishes, poverty is created. With poverty comes what? Crime and violence. And with the crime and violence, as I just stated a moment ago, it presents us with a choice. The choice, stem the greed or pass a law. Well, stem the greed, change is possible. Pass a law, and constantly the increase in greed, in poverty, in crime and violence, and passing laws simply makes a something legal or illegal. It does not prevent. So this is what happens when you're dealing with passing laws rather than stopping the cause. This is what you call dealing with a result of as opposed to dealing with the cause. Stem the greed. There's no poverty, no crime, no violence. No crime and no violence. Freedom from the law. I'm telling you something, ladies and gentlemen. Adding force to the table for a solution indicates the leadership is either incompetent or outright criminal in its intent. If we, as people, want to really live, we are going to have to change the way we do things because we're dealing with God and we're dealing with Satan. We're dealing with what's right and we're dealing with what's wrong. The black and white thing here in the USA is a scam just to justify greed. It's a scam just to justify greed. When we talk about a career is a gift. Having a job is well, sometimes we might not want to see it as a gift, but when you have a career that you have chosen and it is a career that gives you your greatest joy, then you can see that career as a gift. I need to get you to see the difference and to see things differently. This is what I'm all about, ladies and gentlemen. We have been taught by the instructions of our deceiver, yes, that you have to project your human power over the spirit power. This is what we've been taught. What you see versus what you don't see. What is real to you? What you see. Why? Because that's what you've been taught. It is no more real than what you don't see. But you've been taught that it is. And that appears as it is because you don't see what is. Well, there seems to be something at odds with one another. I guess what I'm saying is we have the spirit world and we have the material world. And we say the spirit lives within the material, and together we're able to accomplish things. And so the material outside of us, the spiritual all about us, available to work together in cooperation as we are willing to work with cooperation for one another. I guess what I really want to add in conclusion is this. Based upon what I have witnessed in my life about God, based upon what I have experienced with my brothers and sisters, all of us as human beings, when it comes to God and what God is all about to me, There is no way on the face of the earth without something special would I ever lift up God based upon the response that I've gotten from the world. To me, the world is just as backwards as it can be when it comes down to God. Just as backwards as it can be. And yet, I see the justification. The justification is you don't know better. How you gonna know? How you gonna know? Whoever taught you about love never shown you love. They just show some special attention to you. Because love has no boundaries. Love is like a door that's opening for you to see the world. Love goes beyond that little fingernail. It's all encompassing. And there's no murder, national murders. There are no wars. There's no ugliness. And yet, this is what we have accepted. And I come here every day to tell you to check out the things that's being said to you. You're being played. Politicians are playing you. Many of them, well, most of them don't even know it. They think they're just doing what's supposed to be done. This is what they've been taught. I know the story. But what it ends up doing is denying you, the people. Now, there's a segment of society that profits from all the stuff that's happening. It always has. That which supports the system the most. And now the system does not need everybody's support. It just needs a few. We got the ones chosen that they need support from. The rest of us are just peons out here to be used as they determine we are to be used in order to achieve the things that they have set their minds to achieve. And the crumbs that come back down to us to satisfy us, to make us argue with one another, to think that something is going on and keep fighting with each other by Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, blind as the little mice that's running around under the table trying to find some crumbs. That's the same thing we are. The light comes to shine on the truth to let you know that all resources belong to all you the people. And all you the people working together for the common good makes everything belong to you all. And you don't suffer for nothing. You're living heavenly. But that's so hard for you to see because I'm telling you something you probably never heard before. And how can you believe this? Because they told you that anybody that comes to talk to you the way I'm talking to you got to be a heretic. He can't be real, telling something that cannot happen. And they're saying it cannot happen because they've designed this in such a way. It will not happen. But with the power of truth, you can make it happen because they can do nothing except the power that you've already yield to them because you were deceived into doing it. Remember what they say in the garden, you will not surely die. So bite out this. Listen to this lie. And you will not. And all of a sudden you did it and you messed up. There was division between the man and the woman, experienced and expressed through the division of the children. And division, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And it's been going that way till today. And we still, just like beasts. I'm not laughing because that's not funny. The funny thing is that you can change it anytime you get ready. Till next time, Eddie Marcus saying goodbye for now.